The sky above the junkyard moon was always dark, filled with floating metal and broken dreams. Old ships, fallen drones, a cracked engine saw, thrown here to be forgotten. But to Cole, a human mechanic with oil-stained hands and a tired heart, this place was a treasure map. He walked slowly over the piles, flashlight in hand, scanning every piece with trained eyes. One broken panel, one twisted wire, could be the key to his next repair job. Cole didn't talk much, didn't smile often. But his hands were kind, always fixing things others gave up on. This night felt different, though there was a strange silence, deeper than usual. Like the junkyard was holding its breath. As he moved a heavy wing panel out of the way, a soft blink caught his eye. A tiny light, faint and slow. Like a heartbeat almost gone, Cole knelt down, pushing aside wires and dust, and froze. Under the metal was a figure. Not a robot, not a full body, but something in between. A small torso, silver blue skin mixed with cracked metal plates. Only one eye glowed softly. The rest of her face covered in ash and scars. No arms, no legs, just broken cables where limbs once were. She was more a machine than flesh but her eye. That I was alive and it was looking at him, Cole whispered. What are you? Before he could think more, the pile behind him shifted. A massive engine shell started to fall, crashing toward them. Without hesitation, Cole dove forward, grabbed the body, and rolled out of the way. Metal thundered beside him, missing them. By inches, he coughed from the dust, heart pounding in his arms. The strange alien figure twitched. Then she spoke, her voice weak, flickering like static eye. Remember pain. Not my name. Cole stared at her, shocked. She wasn't just a broken bot. She was alive. He looked around, unsure what to do. This place wasn't safe. Not for her, not anymore. Who left her here? What war tore her apart? Why was she still alive? Questions filled his mind, but one answer came clear. He couldn't leave her. He wrapped her gently in his old coat, feeling the cold metal of her damaged body. Her eye flickered again, and a soft sound escaped her lips. It almost sounded like a sob. The junkyard moaned around him as wind passed through twisted hulls. Cole stood, holding her close, and said quietly, "Let's get you out of here." As he walked back toward his underground workshop, his boots echoed on the metal ground. Behind him, the crushed pile shifted again. Deeper this time, something had been triggered, far above. A distant satellite blinked online for the first time. In years, and somewhere in a hidden part of the galaxy, a cold voice whispered, "Subject C-93. Reactivated." Cole didn't know what he had just found. He didn't know he was being watched. All he knew was that in his arms was a life not yet ready to die, and he, a lonely mechanic, was the only one willing to save her. The moon's silence returned as he vanished into the shadows. But deep inside the alien girl's broken chest, something pulsed again. Not just light, not just power. Something older, something forgotten. A spark waiting to grow, and for the first time in years. Cole felt something too, not fear, not regret, but a strange sense of purpose. He had no idea that saving her would change everything. Not just for him, but for the galaxy. Cole's workshop was hidden beneath the surface of the junkyard moon. An old mining tunnel led down to it, cold and quiet. Lights flickered on as he stepped inside, carrying the broken girl in his arms. The walls were lined with shelves of spare parts, old tools, wires, and scraps from 100 different machines. Some called this place trash, but to Cole, it was home. He cleared a work table and gently laid her down, careful not to damage her any more than she already was. Her eye blinked slowly, trying to stay awake. "Where am I?" she asked in a weak voice. "My place," Cole replied. "You're safe now." He looked at her closely. Her body was strange. not fully robotic, not fully organic either. Parts of her skin looked soft and warm, while others were clearly built from alien alloys. There were ports and connectors along her spine, most of them burnt or melted. Her energy core was nearly dead. Cole had never seen anything like her. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly, mostly to himself. She didn't answer. Instead, her eye flickered and she whispered, "I failed. I was supposed to protect something." Then her voice faded into silence. Cole stood there for a moment, thinking he didn't know her name, her story, or why she was buried in that pile of wreckage. But she was alive, and that was enough. He grabbed a small power module and carefully connected it to the base of her neck. She twitched slightly as energy flowed into her system. After a few minutes, her breathing became more steady. Her eye glowed brighter. She looked at him again, more aware this time. "Why? Are you helping me?" she asked. "Because someone left you for dead." He replied, "And that's not right." He decided to call her Ziri. It felt like a soft name, fitting for someone who had been through so much. She didn't object. In fact, she repeated it to herself softly, "Ziri," for the next few hours. Cole worked in silence, examining every part of her body. He made a list of everything she needed: a new spinal brace, replacement limbs, internal wiring, a speech stabilizer, and a core regulator. Most of it he didn't have in perfect condition, but he could build it, piece by piece. Ziri watched him as he worked, her eye tracking every move. "Do you fix everyone like this?" she asked. "No," he said, without looking up. "Just the ones worth saving." Ziri fell quiet again, thinking about what that meant. Was she worth saving? Was she still herself? Or just broken parts that used to be someone else? Cole connected a simple voice modulator so she could speak more clearly. Her next words were smoother, but her voice still shook. "I was part of something, a mission maybe. I remember fire, screams, and then silence. Memory loss is normal after heavy trauma," Cole said, tightening a bolt, "especially when half your brain is made of circuits." "But I'm not just circuits," she whispered. "I know," he replied, without hesitation. Outside the workshop, a storm of space dust blew over the surface. In the quiet underground, the hum of machines and Cole's steady hands were the only sounds. Ziri watched his face, trying to understand him. He wasn't like the others, she remembered. Cold, loud, full of orders. He was calm, gentle. And his hands were careful, like he was fixing something precious, not just another machine. "Do humans always help strangers?" she asked. Cole paused, then smiled slightly. "No, not always." "Then why me?" "Because someone should," he said. That answer stayed with her, even after her energy started to fade again. As she slipped into sleep mode, her eye dimming, she whispered, "I don't want to forget again." Cole looked at her and said softly, "Then I'll help you remember." As Ziri rested, he sat at his bench, sketching out designs for her new limbs. He would build her stronger, faster, better than before. Not just to fix her, but to give her a chance to choose her future. Whatever war she came from, whatever pain she carried, he would help her become something new. But far above the junkyard moon, a satellite flickered, a red light blinked, and a signal was sent. Coordinates, identity, status C-93, reactivated, in a hidden starbase deep within enemy space. A monitor lit up. A voice said, "Prepare a retrieval unit back in the workshop." Cole didn't know that danger was already coming. He only knew he had made a promise, and he wasn't going to break it. The ghosts of the past were waking up, and in the middle of it, all Ziri, broken, forgotten, but now being rebuilt. And this time, she wouldn't be alone. Cole didn't sleep that night. He stayed at his workbench, tools in hand, designs in front of him, and parts spread across the table. The silence of the underground workshop was deep. broken only by the soft hum of energy cells and the gentle breaths of the sleeping girl. Ziri, the name he gave her. She was still unconscious, her system slowly charging. Cole looked over her broken form and whispered, "You've been through hell, haven't you?" Her body was a puzzle. Alien technology mixed with bioorganic tissue. Whoever made her had fused machine and life together. Not like a cyborg, but like she had been grown and built at the same time. It made no sense, but Cole wasn't interested in the why. He was focused on the how to help her walk again, speak again, live again. He found an old neural limb module in a crate from a crashed military drone. It was damaged, but usable, carefully. He adjusted the connectors, linked it to her shoulder ports, and activated the sync. Ziri twitched, her eye opening slowly. Cole stepped back. "Hey, you're awake." Ziri turned her head slightly, looking at her new arm. It was bare metal, wires exposed, not beautiful, but it moved. She lifted it shakily, fingers clenching, eyes wide with shock. "I can feel it," she said quietly. "It's not mine, but I can feel it." "That's good." Cole nodded. Tightening a screw means the nerve pathways are still working. Ziri looked at him, confused. "Why does that matter?" Cole smiled a little. "'Cause it means you're still in there. The real you." For a moment, she was quiet. Then she asked, "But who is that?" Cole didn't answer right away. He walked over to a small shelf, grabbed a mirror, and held it up to her. Ziri stared at her reflection. One side of her face was smooth, soft, glowing slightly with a silver blue hue. The other side was reinforced with curved armor, metal lines running under her skin. She touched her face with her new hand. Slowly. "I look like something built to fight." "Maybe," Cole said gently. "But that doesn't mean you still have to." Ziri turned to him, her voice trembling. "I remember flashes. I was flying, running, people were shouting. Then pain, fire. Then nothing." Cole nodded. "Memory loss is common. Trauma or deep system shutdown. Was I a soldier?" She asked, "Or something worse?" "I don't know," he replied. "But I know you're not a machine." Ziri looked at her hand again, her fingers glowing slightly. "Sometimes I feel something like power inside me, but I don't understand it." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Power," she nodded. "When I'm scared or hurt. It pulses in my chest, like it's waiting for something." Cole leaned forward, curious now. He opened a panel on her torso and saw a strange core. It was not like any reactor he had ever seen. It looked alive, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. He reached for a scanner and studied the core. The readings made no sense stable. But with energy levels too high for her small frame, it wasn't just a power source, it was a reactor, and a dangerous one. "You're carrying something powerful," Cole said. Stepping back, Ziri looked at him, scared. "Am I a weapon?" "I don't know," he said honestly, "but you're not hurting anyone now." She looked down, ashamed. "Maybe I already did." Cole shook his head. "Then don't do it again." He paused, then added, "It's not about what you. It's about what you choose now." Ziri held her hand over her chest, feeling the energy pulse again for the first time. It didn't scare her. It felt warm, like something that belonged to her, not just something forced into her. She looked up at Cole and asked, "Can you help me walk?" Cole grinned. Now that's the spirit. He began preparing her legs, using reinforced alloy and hydraulic supports. As he worked, Ziri watched his hands, so focused, so steady. "Why are you doing this?" she asked softly. Cole didn't stop moving. "Because I see someone worth saving." Ziri blinked, confused. "Again, you barely know me." "I don't need to," he said. "Sometimes you just know." Just then, the alarm sensor on the wall blinked red. Cole frowned, wiping his hands. Motion above ground. He muttered, checking the screen. A small dot had appeared in orbit, too far to scan, but too close to ignore. Ziri sat up, panic in her eye. There. Coming, she said, voice shaking. They know I'm alive. Cole narrowed his eyes. Then we need to finish fast. He looked at her with determination. You've got a heart of steel, he said. But maybe you've got a soul of light. Too. Ziri smiled. Just a little. It was the first time she felt like maybe she wasn't just a broken machine. Maybe she was becoming something more. Cole worked all night, welding and wiring, testing and adjusting. Ziri stayed awake too. Her single eye watching every move. The new legs were almost ready crafted from old scout drone limbs strengthened with shock-absorb alloy. They didn't look perfect, but they were strong. Strong enough to carry someone back to life. Cole crouched beside her, lifting one of the legs. Ready? He asked. Ziri nodded. Slowly, though fear flickered across her face, he attached the connectors. And a soft hum filled the air. Her system synced. Lights blinked on her lower frame, and her limbs jerked slightly. Then they stilled, waiting for her command. She stared down at the legs, unsure. They were hers now, but they didn't feel like hers. Cole sensed her hesitation. Try moving your foot, he said gently. She focused, breathing slow. Her metal foot twitched, then lifted. She gasped, surprised. Then she moved the other foot, slowly lifting both legs, swinging them off the table for the first time. She sat up on her own. Her eye shimmered as she looked at Cole. I'm doing it, she whispered. You are? He smiled. Want to try standing? Ziri hesitated. What if she fell? What if her body broke again? What if this was a mistake? But Cole didn't rush her. He just stood nearby, hands ready to catch her. Ziri reached for the edge of the table, pressed her new feet to the floor, and pushed. Her legs shook, her body wobbled. Cole stepped closer, but didn't touch her. She steadied herself, balancing, rising slowly, and then she stood. I'm standing, she said in awe. I'm really standing. Cole's voice was soft, proud. You're walking out of your past. She took one shaky step, then another. Her balance was rough, her movements stiff, but she moved. The sound of her footsteps echoed through the workshop. Each one was a step away from the wreckage she once was. But deep inside, Ziri felt something stir. The energy in her chest pulsed harder, faster. Like something inside her knew she wasn't meant to walk, she was meant to run. She looked at Cole, breathing fast. What if I'm dangerous? She asked suddenly. Cole blinked, surprised. What do you mean, what if? It's power inside me. Hurts people, she said, her voice trembling. What if I wasn't made to protect, but to destroy? Cole didn't answer right away. He walked over and pulled down a dusty screen. He turned it on, revealing an old, cracked monitor feed. From a wrecked satellite he once repaired, it showed orbit traffic around the junkyard moon. One red dot blinked at the edge of the screen. Cole pointed to it. That ship's been holding position since last night, he said. Ziri felt cold. They've found me, she whispered. Probably, Cole said. And if they want you back that badly. Maybe it's not because you're dangerous, but because you're important. Ziri sat down again, her new legs folding awkwardly beneath her. Why would they throw me away if I was important? Cole knelt in front of her. Because people fear what they can't control. She lowered her head, her hands trembling. I don't want to hurt anyone, Cole. He looked into her eye. Then you won't, he said firmly, 'cause you have a choice now. They sat in silence for a while. Above them, the scanner continued blinking. Someone was watching, waiting, that night. Ziri stayed in the corner of the workshop. She stared at her hands, then at her legs. She thought about the energy that lived inside her. The memories still hidden in shadow. She didn't remember names or faces, but she remembered a feeling. Running, laughter, a hand holding hers. It didn't feel like war, it felt like home. Cole stayed up too, working on shielding her signal. He knew the enemy was coming, and he didn't have much time. But every time he looked at Ziri, he felt something strange. Not fear, not pity, hope. She was broken, rebuilt. But not empty. She had life in her. And maybe, just maybe, she had something more powerful than weapons. She had will. Before dawn, Ziri walked over to Cole, her steps. "More confident now? I want to learn," she said. "Learn what?" he asked. "How to be someone new." Cole nodded. "Then we start now." He handed her a simple tool, a spanner. She took it, holding it like it was precious in that moment. Ziri wasn't a weapon, she wasn't a machine. She was a girl starting over. The morning was quiet. Too quiet. Cole stood at the top of the access tunnel, looking at the dusty sky above the junkyard moon. The satellite feed showed no movement, but his gut told him otherwise. Something was coming, and it wasn't friendly. Down. In the workshop, Ziri was practicing her balance. She walked from one wall to the other. Slower this time, more controlled. Her limbs still felt strange. But each step made her feel a little more real, a little more alive. But the air in the room changed. The lights flickered for a second, then returned. Ziri stopped walking, her eye glowing brighter. "They're here," she whispered. Cole rushed back inside, typing quickly on the console. 3 signals had entered low orbit. Small but fast, stealth drones, black and silent. "Designed for one-purpose extraction or elimination. They found you," he said. Voice calm but sharp. Ziri looked at him, her fingers curling into fists. "Then I won't hide." Cole turned to her, surprised. "You don't have to fight," he said. Ziri shook her head. "I'm done being hunted." He handed her a small device. A signal scrambler he built months ago. "It won't stop them, but it'll confuse their targeting," he said. She nodded, attaching it to her chest. Cole moved quickly, pulling levers and opening a hidden wall behind the workshop. It led to a narrow hallway filled with old traps. Left over from the pirate raids years ago, Ziri followed him, moving faster now, her rebuilt body responding with smooth precision. Above ground, the first drone landed. It was shaped like a sleek black knife, its legs unfolding like a spider. 2 more dropped nearby, scanning the area with glowing red sensors. One of them spoke in a cold, robotic voice. "Target Z93, located, retrieval priority, terminate resistance." They entered the tunnel, sensors sweeping left and right. The first tripwire snapped, releasing a blast of dust and shrapnel. The lead drone staggered, but didn't fall. The second stepped on a pressure plate and triggered a net of live wires. Sparks flew, but it powered through. They were tougher than expected. Cole cursed under his breath as he watched the hallway feed. "They've upgraded these things." Ziri didn't respond. Her eye focused, glowing bright now with something deeper anger. Fear still lived inside her, but something stronger was rising. The last drone reached the door to the workshop. Ziri stepped forward, standing in the open. Her voice was calm. "You left me to die." The drone paused, scanning her error. Subject Z93 not terminated. Correction in progress. It fired a stun, charge fast, silent, deadly. Ziri moved. Without thinking, her new legs leaping to the side, dodging it. Cole activated the scrambler. Causing the drone to glitch for a second, Ziri charged. Using her arm to slam the drone against the wall, sparks flew, metal groaned. But the drone countered with a blade from its arm. Slashing across her shoulder, she cried out, staggering back. Cole threw her a makeshift plasma rod half-weapon. Half-tool, she caught it, turned, and drove it through the drone's chest. The machine buzzed, sparked, and collapsed. Another drone appeared at the hallway. Firing blindly, Cole pulled a lever, releasing a gravity trap. The drone was slammed into the ground with crushing force. Unable to rise, the last drone stood at the entrance. Analyzing the scene, Ziri stepped toward it, breathing hard. "You'll tell them I'm not coming back." The drone replied, "You are property, not person." Ziri's voice rose, stronger than before. "Then consider me stolen," she threw. The plasma rod with perfect aim, it struck the drone's core, and the machine exploded in a flash of fire and smoke. The hallway fell silent. Ziri stood alone in the dust, chest rising and falling, energy core glowing bright. Cole stepped out, slowly, coughing. "You okay?" he asked. Ziri turned to him, her voice calm but shaking. "I didn't know I could do that." He smiled. Neither did they. They spent hours cleaning up the wreckage. Cole dragged the remains of the drones to the scrap pile. Ziri sat near the wall, holding her injured shoulder, but not complaining. There was blood on her arm, but it wasn't all hers. When Cole finished, he sat beside her. "You did more than fight," he said. "You chose to stand." Ziri looked at her hands, then at him. "I don't want to keep running." "You don't have to," he said. "But if they came once, they'll come again." She nodded, slowly. "Then I want to be ready." That night, Cole unlocked the deepest part of his storage. Inside were components he had never used: military-grade plating, reinforced boosters, weapon cores, shield tech. Ziri stood at the door, watching the glow. "From the parts, those were meant for a war," she said. Cole looked at her. "Are you?" But this time, she wouldn't be fighting for them. She would fight for herself, and she would not fight alone. The workshop was quiet again. The drones were gone, but their broken parts still smoked in the corners. Cole sat at his workbench, repairing one of Ziri's damaged shoulder joints. She didn't flinch anymore, didn't pull away. The pain was real, but it didn't scare her like it used to. Outside, the sky was dark. Storm clouds of cosmic dust rolling over the surface. Ziri stood near the doorway, her glowing eye watching the empty land. She wasn't just thinking, she was remembering. "I saw something when I was fighting," she said softly. Cole looked up, waiting. "When I grabbed the drone, when I touched its core." Something in my head opened. She turned to him, her voice shaky. It wasn't a memory, not exactly, more like a scream frozen in time. Cole stood and walked over. "What did you see?" Ziri closed her eye for a moment. "I was running, holding something. A child or Data. Maybe both. Alarms were sounding, people shouting. My heart was racing. I was trying to escape, not for me, for them." Her hands clenched, the metal fingers digging slightly into her palm. "I reached the launch chamber, but the gate wouldn't open. They fired at me. Someone I trusted shot me in the back." Cole stayed quiet, letting her speak. "I fell. I remember my body hitting the metal floor. I saw my reflection before everything went black. I had a different face then." Cole stepped closer. "You think you were part of a rebellion?" Ziri nodded, slowly. "I wasn't their tool. I was their enemy. They didn't just leave me in the junkyard to forget. They put me there." She sat down, her shoulders shaking. "I was trying to protect something important. Something they feared." Cole pulled out a black case from the back wall. Inside was an old alien memory core, smooth and glowing dim blue. "I found this last year in a broken escape pod." He said, "I never got it open." "Ziri's. I focused on it, I think." "It's mine." He nodded and handed it to her carefully. She held it in both hands, her energy core pulsing bright. The memory orb lit up instantly, reacting to her touch. Images flashed across the walls, holograms made of light and data. A tall, alien woman with silver skin and eyes like stars stood at a control panel. Beside her, a younger version of Ziri stood proudly, full-bodied and unbroken. She wore armor not for war but for duty. She was a protector, a courier of forbidden knowledge. The voice of the tall woman echoed through the memory. "You must carry it. Ziri, even if it destroys you. Another flash showed Ziri running through fire, carrying a child with glowing veins, then betrayal, pain, and finally darkness. The memory faded. Leaving silence behind, Ziri stared at the orb, tears in her eye, not oil. But real tears? I wasn't a weapon, she whispered. I was a guardian. I failed. Cole knelt beside her. No, you survived. Ziri turned to him. I lost the child, I lost the data, I lost my body. What's left of me? He looked at her without blinking. Your choice, you. Still choose who you are now. She looked at her reflection in a broken panel on the wall. Her face was different, her body rebuilt, but inside, she was still Ziri. Not the same, but not gone either. I want to finish what I started, she said. I want to find what I lost. Cole stood up, walked to the old control board, activated the long-range scanner. A blinking point appeared. In the deep zone, far from the junkyard. The same energy signature from the child in the memory flashed briefly. Signals faint, he said, but it's there. Ziri stood tall, her voice steady. Then that's where I'm going. Cole looked at her, then at the half-built ship in the back of the workshop. It was made from stolen parts, old engines, and reinforced hull panels. It wasn't pretty, but it was strong. You'll need a ride, he said, smiling. Ziri touched the ship, then looked at him. I'm not leaving you behind, he raised an eyebrow. I'm not much for flying. You're more than a mechanic, she said. You're the only reason I'm still me. Cole looked at the stars on the monitor, then back at her. Then let's finish what you started. They spent the night working side by side. He fixed engines, she strengthened shielding. He adjusted controls, she calibrated sensors. They were a team, now not just a human and a half-dead alien girl, but something stronger in the final. Hours before launch, Ziri painted a symbol on the ship. It was from the memory, a mark of protection. Cole didn't ask what it meant, but she whispered, hope. Far across the galaxy, other systems lit up. The hunters knew Ziri was still alive. They wouldn't let her escape again. But this time, she wasn't alone. And this time, she remembered everything. The ship was ready. It wasn't a masterpiece. It wasn't sleek or fast, but it was strong, sharp, and alive, just like Ziri. Cole stood at the edge of the launch platform, checking the last systems. Ziri walked toward him. Her movements smooth now, confident. She wore a new chest plate over her core, lightweight but reinforced. Her arms and legs had been upgraded with shock absorption and defensive layers. Her glowing eye shined bright with calm fire. You sure you want to do this? Cole asked. Ziri nodded. They tried to erase me, she said. Now I want them to see what I've become. The hatch opened with a hiss, and the two stepped inside. The cockpit was tight, built from salvaged parts, but everything worked. Ziri took the pilot's seat, her hands resting on the controls like she'd done it before. Cole sat beside her, fingers on the manual override panel. The engine hummed, eager to rise. As the ship lifted from the surface, the junkyard below shrank. Dust clouds rolled behind them, shadows stretching as the sky turned from gray to black. Stars opened above like a path, waiting. But they didn't get far before the warning light blinked red. Cole cursed, checking the scanners. 3 ships on intercept course, he said. Fast ones. Ziri looked at the display. Same energy as the drones. The enemy had returned. This time, they didn't send small machines. They sent pilots. Cole gripped the controls. We can run. Ziri shook her head, her voice cold. Not this time. She activated the rear shields, boosted the engines, and turned to face them. We don't have to destroy them, Cole said. We just have to show them they can't win. The first enemy ship approached fast, firing warning blasts. Ziri dodged smoothly, returning fire. With a short plasma burst, it wasn't enough to destroy, but it made them back off. The second came in from the side, trying to flank. Cole activated a decoy signal, drawing the attack away. Ziri spun the ship around and launched an EMP pulse. Disabling the attacker systems, one ship down, two left. Ziri's breathing was steady. Her hands never shook. This wasn't fear. This was focus. The third ship hailed them. A voice came through the comms. Low and commanding, Z-93, you belong to us. Surrender, and you will be reprocessed. Ziri pressed the come button. I did belong to you, she said, but I rebuilt myself, and I will never come back. The voice replied. You are not authorized to think. Ziri smiled. Then prepare for something unauthorized. She shut off the comms and turned sharply, flying straight toward them. Cole's eyes widened. We're charging them. Trust me, she said, just before they made contact. She released a wave of high-frequency pulse data. It wasn't an attack, it was a memory. The same memory orb she had seen, now uploaded. Now shared. For a second, everything paused. The enemy ship stuttered mid-flight, its systems hesitating. Then the voice returned shaky, almost human. You were one of us. Ziri's voice was soft. I still am, but not yours. She activated a warp burst. Blasting past them before they could recover, the stars stretched and the ship vanished into deep space. Silence filled the cabin. Cole leaned back. Breathing hard, you did it, he said, smiling. No. Ziri replied, we did it. They entered a quiet zone, far from war and command. Below them, the small planet blinked with the same signal as before, the one from the child. Ziri looked at the readings. It's the same frequency. She whispered. Someone is down there. They landed near a quiet forest. The trees glowed faintly, and the wind hummed with soft energy. Ziri stepped out, her feet sinking into soft moss. It felt strange, soft, not like metal or dust. They followed the signal into a clearing, and there, standing alone, was a child. She had silver blue skin, glowing lines on her arms, and eyes just like Ziri's. The girl turned slowly and whispered Ziri. Ziri froze. Memories crashing into her. This was the one she had carried, the one she tried to protect. I thought I failed, Ziri said, falling to her knees. You didn't, the girl replied, wrapping her arms around her. I waited. Because I knew you'd come back. Cole stood back, watching quietly. In that moment, he saw something more than just a machine or a soldier. He saw family. Ziri stood slowly, holding the child's hand. She looked back at Cole and nodded. We have a future now. They returned to the ship together. Not as broken parts, not as fugitives, but as survivors. Above them, the stars were quiet, but not for long, because word would spread that the girl they left in pieces had risen again, that she remembered who she was, and she had chosen hope, not hate, life, not war. And this time, the galaxy would have to face something stronger than any weapon, a rebuilt soul with a human heart beside it.